The 80s was one of the biggest decades for old school music, and it was also a time when digital downloads and YouTube music streaming were not that popular. Well, they didn't actually exist yet. Before the rise of the iPod and smartphones, there was one who ruled over all portable music players. That was the Walkman. It was the age of classic hits such as Michael Jackson's Billie Jean and Lionel Richie's Say You Say Me. Much of today's nostalgia music is based on what was popular during the 80s and 90s, and the device which caused one of the biggest pushes towards playing music through your headphones wherever you are was the Walkman. This is such a big deal because at the time, walking around with headphones was not really that common, but Sony planned to change that. At the time, the portable cassette had already been out for about 15 years, so cassette players weren't really new. The fact of the matter is that the Walkman was not the first portable cassette player, but a simple change to how people would use Sony's Walkman made a big difference. See, at the time, most portable cassette players had their focus on their recording capabilities rather than any music playing capabilities, and many people never really thought about walking around listening to music since they could do the same on their radios at home. The demand was slow, so at the time, it did not really make sense to even attempt to enter that market. Strangely enough, the entire concept of the Walkman came to life when a Sony co-founder wanted a prototype built for a device that would allow him to listen to his favorite opera music during his long business trips without needing to bring a huge tape player along with him. This was all in 1978, and on July 1st of 1979, the Walkman was released. At this point, I should probably mention that this was all the work of Nobutoshi Kihara and Masaru Ibuka. Honestly, it feels like an anime casual call. Little did they know that the Walkman would become one of the biggest portable cassette players ever and would mold the future of how we listen to music today. Fun fact, the Walkman was not even known as the Walkman all over the world. In Japan it was called the Walkman, but in the US it was known as the Soundabout, the Freestyle in Sweden, and the Stowaway in the UK. Upon release, the Walkman was not really the most loved device out there, and production had to be cut in half. But that would change pretty quickly as the device's popularity started to rise and people began to accept the concept of the portable cassette player. Sony's advertising had a major role to play in this. Interestingly enough, the company decided to pay people to wear the Walkman in public in many places in Tokyo, and soon enough the device began to gain popularity and the first batch of 30,000 Walkmans was sold out. The early poster adverts for the Walkman were actually very vague, with most of them showing people listening to the Walkman in very interesting situations, and it seems like those adverts worked very well, since they were different enough to pull people towards actually buying Walkmans of their own and seeing what all the hype was about. The Walkman itself had a few interesting features given the fact that it had two headphone jacks, a button that lowered the music volume and one which turned on a mic so that people listening to music could speak to each other. The device surely stood out among the crowd. As time passed, the sharing features were removed in later models as it became pretty normal for people to listen to the music alone. The Walkman ushered in a new era of music. Portability and quality were a huge focus. It popularized the use of headphones, making your very own music mixes, and made smaller better. Also, if you didn't know, Sony still produces new updated models of the Walkman, so although the device was at its peak during the 80s and 90s, it's still technically alive today. If you enjoyed this video or learned anything new or want more, feel free to click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever a new video is released. Leave a like and comment your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching the second episode of Tech Vibe. If you're feeling generous and want to help this channel out in producing better content, consider supporting this channel on Patreon. $1 goes an extremely long way. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I will be seeing you in the next video.